What's up, guys? My name is Zach, and today I am driving a 2013 Volvo C30. Up front is a 2.5-liter turbocharged inline-5, and down below is a 5-speed automatic transmission. Now, I am super excited to be driving this C30 for one reason. I think it's hot, and I haven't driven one before, and so I'm excited to share this little personal hatchback with you today. But if you'd like to share your vehicle with me, you can head on over to my website, zackbradle.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form, takes under a minute to fill out, and I come out to you. But let's get back to that inline-5 turbo under the hood, making 227 horsepower. Well, let's let it do the talking. I don't think you heard anything, but it definitely moves. 227 horsepower is a very healthy, very good number for a vehicle like this, and you do really feel that just touch extra amount of torque that the 5-cylinder brings. It's not just a 4-cylinder, you have an extra entire piston helping out moving that crankshaft. So you do feel that little bit of torque, and although there is boost lag, it's sort of filled in a little bit by that extra cylinder. So that's very nice to see. Like I said, paired to it is a 5-speed automatic. You could also find these in 6-speed manuals. However, this is the auto, and I honestly don't mind it. It's not the peppiest, most exciting, most hardcore driven transmission I've ever felt in an automobile, but it does the job, and I'm pretty happy that it's doing that. Last but not least, the C30 is front-wheel drive. So how does it feel to actually drive the C30? Well, like I said, that 227 horsepower is fantastic and really, really handy here around town. But overall, there's not too much road noise, or I guess not any more road noise than what I would normally come to expect out of a vehicle like this. Visibility is good. Throttle response is decent. Steering isn't too heavy or too light. And overall, it's pretty pleasurable. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have 2 physical gauges and some screens. Off to the left, I have my speedometer and fuel, and off to the right, I have my tachometer and coolant temperature. I also do get a little screen giving me some info up at the top and what gear I'm in, as well as that odometer down at the bottom, displaying proudly that 22,000 miles. It's another big drawing point of why I wanted to film this car, is because it is so low mileage. On the steering wheel, on the left, I have my cruise control options, and off to the right, I have my phone, skip track, and volume options. The overall steering wheel is kind of blobby, kind of mid-2000s, doesn't have a whole lot of style to it. However, very much par for the course in this era of automobile design. Off to the left, I do have a little climate control vent, headlight switches, fuel door release, and fog lights. And moving out of the door, we have a big lock and unlock, power mirrors, and power window adjustments. Moving into the center, we have 2 climate control vents with the hazard switch, and a very, very small radio display. So this was kind of a big deal when this vehicle came out. A lot of people praised it for this sort of floating island. So you get the display for the radio up at the top, and then you get volume and tuning, as well as a number pad, phone menu, things like that. And then it sort of fades into the climate controls with fan speed off to the left and temperature off to the right, and where to send in the middle. I do have heated seats as well, and if you are a Ford connoisseur, you will recognize this little diagram of a man because it is from Ford. This is the Ford era of Volvo, when they actually had a controlling share. And so they were kind of running the show, and that's obvious here with the little Ford man. But I like how clean and simple this is. This almost looks like it's out of a concept car. It doesn't look actually real, and I love seeing that in vehicles. Then we do come to the shifter. I can plus minus if I'd like. However, it is decently plasticky and what I would expect out of a Ford-derived vehicle of this era. Moving down the center console, we do have a 12-volt outlet. The tiniest little cubby in the world. I don't really know what this was for, just to rest your 2 fingers, I guess. But then we do have cup holders, so we will do a big friggin' bottle test here in the C30, and I am very happy to report that it does, in fact, pass the big friggin' bottle test with flying colors. I love a good small car that can pass the big friggin' bottle test, and the C30 is one of them. Then we get a center console and the seats. The seats are cloth. They're not anything too crazy or exotic. However, they are heated and power, which is very nice to see. So very good options here in the C30 when it comes to seating. However, we do have back seats, even though this is a coupe. So let's hop around back and do a back seat review. So first of all, right off the bat, I do have this power moving seat, so I can power move that forward and then pull up on this and I can push the actual seat forward. Now, the owner said that the dismount isn't pretty, and I concur. But he said once you're back here, it's not bad, so let's see if he's right about that. And he is. Once I'm back here, the actual seats aren't too bad. I'm a little squished, but moving this back to the driving position, it's not awful. It's definitely usable. I would not be happy if my friend said, hey, we're gonna drive to Alaska and you have to sit in the back of my C30. I probably wouldn't be super thrilled about that. But again, this isn't really the focus of the car. It has back seats if you need them, but you don't have to use them. And so I would recommend trying not to, but if you do, it's not the worst case scenario. Definitely better than a lot of other vehicles, and definitely better than the Karma Rivero that I recently reviewed. So this has better back seats than an actual sedan. So pretty cool. Let's hop out. We'll take a quick look at the trunk and cargo space, and then we'll talk about the looks. There's a man behind me that's shouting on the phone. Sounds like he's making business deals. But let's talk about this business deal, the Volvo C30. So something I never realized about these cars is that the entire hatch is glass. You know, just like my old 80s RX-7, but this is actually, you know, tilted this way. I didn't realize how low this actually comes. This is still glass. And so grab it here, you can kind of see it better there. Tons of visibility out the rear, which is fantastic. Once we are back here, I wouldn't consider this fantastic amount of space, but it's also not terrible amounts of space. And down below, we do have the spare tire and whatnot. So there's the back of the Volvo C30, if you've ever been curious, but I'm just blown away by this cool rear hatch glass piece. Very, very neat. Now we gotta talk about the looks, and I love the look of the C30. Like I mentioned with that trunk review, I love that glass panel on the back. Very different, very strange. And I like the unbroken line that starts up at the hood and goes all the way back to the taillights. I think it's a very good looking, I think it's a very handsome vehicle, and it's just something we don't really see much of anymore. Not only the way it's styled, but the entire design of the vehicle. We don't really have any two-door hatchbacks anymore. The Volkswagen Golf used to be offered with it in the GTI. You could get a two-door GTI, but that's no longer available here. I'm thinking of that weird Saturn two-door hatchback that I've never reviewed, the Astra. That is super cool, but this kind of body style just doesn't exist. A sort of personal hatchback. And I really like it. I think design-wise, I think it really reminds me of those rally-bred vehicles of the early 90s. And so it's very cool, at least, to look at. But for cars, you don't just look at them. You have to drive them and live with them. So what are my final thoughts? Well, I love it. I really, really genuinely enjoy this car. The only downside I really see is the sort of Ford plasticky-ness on the interior. Now, this car, like I said, is a low mileage example, and it's very well kept, and the owner upkeeps it. He takes pride in his vehicle, and so that's not really a worry here. But if you're looking for one of these, they're going to have 100,000 miles, 150, maybe even 200,000 miles. The interiors are going to be the weak point. The plastics in here are going to scratch fairly easily, and so over a 150,000 mile life, you're going to get a lot of that. So just something to look for if you are looking for your own C30. But that's really it. I love the size of it. The owner lives in a crowded, congested area, and parking isn't readily available, and so he found this very easy to park. He found it very easy to drive and love and maneuver. The 5-cylinder turbo is great. It's peppy, it does the job, and when you let it and when you put your foot into it, it'll curl your toes a little bit. But just going back to it, hands down, my favorite thing has to be that this is a two-door hatchback. I love the idea of just me and maybe my girlfriend, maybe not, taking a road trip in a little car like this. I feel like a John Wayne character, just me and my trusty steed with a little saddlebag going across the country. It's just me and my luggage, and that's it. It does have back seats if you're stuck on nanny duty for your cousin's kid or whatever it might be. Sure, they can sit in the back, they can enjoy it. Is this a family car? No. But if you're single, maybe you have a significant other, you don't have a big family, and you want a fun, interesting, unique car that is going to do everything you really ask it to do within reason, I think the C30 is a fantastic option. And it's just something different. It's a modern, weird Volvo, and that isn't found much anymore. Volvos, as much as I love their current models, seen here, here, and here, I love these cars. I've had them as press cars and driven them for a week each, and I love them. But they're not that weird. They're not that crazy. They're not that interesting beyond their drivetrains. And so this is a cool and unique Volvo. This is a delectable Swedish meatball. This car encompasses the beautiful simplicity of IKEA without the assembly required. And that's what I love. It's simple, it's unique, it's fun, and it's useful. And I don't really know what else a car would need to be. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Brian for letting me film his C30. I was so excited to film this vehicle. Brian has been absolutely awesome to work with. He actually came out this way and met me halfway, which is very, very much appreciated. And this thing is just sweet, so I can't thank him enough for that. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.